A work of faith is a belief that trusts. You know what your work's doing, your physical work's doing? The place that you work at? What are you building? Bud, what are you building at your work? What do you build? He fixes engines for some man's business to transport stuff. What are you building, Nash, at work? Power lines. John, what are you building? Security systems. All right? Security systems. Do any of those things, are they being built in order that people will be on their way to heaven? No, we literally work the works that we do to build for, let's just say, a society that eventually is going to be gone. Not when we do the works of God. They fade not away, and they store up treasures in heaven. It is a work system. You could walk in tomorrow and your bosses could just bring you in and say, hey, it's been fun, you're fired. Bud could walk in tomorrow and say, hey, it's been a good time, you're fired. You walk in tomorrow and say, John, you're fired. And guess what? And you'd be out of a job. You know what? When you work for God, you're never out of a job. He's not in the business of firing you. He's in the business of feeding you, encouraging you, and putting you back in the workforce all the time. You say, well, I don't like to work. That's a problem. That's a problem. It's something that has to be corrected. Our behavior is revealed to others by what we do, capital D, capital O. Not what is in our hearts, and not what we say, not the things we wish we would have done, but what is actually carried out. Otherwise, they're just dreams. You can't dream about building a church. You can have a vision. But all it is a fleeting vision if those thoughts do not get put to paper and that paper doesn't get put to the ground. It's a process by which we're building something. It's a belief that triumphs. 1 John 5 says, for whatsoever is born of God overcometh the world. And this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcometh the world but he that believeth that Jesus is the Son of God? It is the moving from knowing there is a God to believing there is a God to the work of God. What drives their work? What drives your work for God? Not just a belief. That initiates it. Not just the lives of others. That sustains it. But what drives your hope? What's their hope? It doesn't matter if you live or die. You're going to be with God. So, not that it's radical or reckless, but you can just live for God. He was saying to the church at Thessalonica, if they kill you, you have an early entry program. You can just live for God. If they fire you, you can live for God. You need not fear what man can do unto you. But you need to have reverential fear for the God that you're serving with your life. And He's the one we're doing the eternal work for. So there is a fondness, a labor of love, but there's a future as well. They are patient in hope. Hope of what? Man, hope that Jesus is coming back, man. It would get better now if you would get your time and eyes on the right things. We keep our minds on the temporal instead of resting on the eternal. And because of that, this sucks. It's a crazy time to be alive in America. What is the future? Are we going to not have financial power? Well, it doesn't look like biblically. Are we not going to have military power? Well, it doesn't look like biblically. So what are we going to have? Well, the only thing you're going to be left with is God. That's it. Amen? See, if we had God first, the financial and the military power would just be like, You can't control it anyway. Amen? You're not in a position to control that stuff. You can pray about it. There are people that are higher up, and let's just be honest, God is higher up than that. And there are things that are going to come to pass that are going to make us wonder what is going on. But while that is going on, we can know what's going on in the portals of heaven. And that brings hope. That brings hope.